The broadsides are kept upstairs in our BMSCL in folders that are inside flat files, and they're segregated by state. Each item in the folder has been, at some point in its life, encapsulated with double stick tape along the edges, which is still sticky, and we have to remove it for that reason, and also because DPC cannot image the materials through the polyester. So the first step for us is to sort them within the folders by size. And we're sorting them by size for the DPC workflow and then the final enclosure workflow. The first step is going to be taking off the mylar, which is as simple as taking a pair of scissors. You have to be very careful. Sometimes the item itself has slipped into the tape in the mylar package, and so it's stuck, so you have to be careful with that. And you also have to be careful because a lot of these are very brittle. Either the paper is brittle, or on this one you can see that at some point someone has tried to do some repair by taping it, and that tape has caused the paper to become very fragile underneath it. So we're trying not to do any further damage while we're unencapsulating them. While I'm doing this, I'm also looking at its overall condition, and I'm going to flag the ones that will need to be repaired. We're only repairing ones that cannot be imaged or handled in the condition that they're in currently. So there are some we're letting go that have some minor tears or losses or staining, and we're only going to focus on the ones that really cannot be handled in a safe way, such as this one. And this one is a little unsafe, not because the tape is so fragile, but because it's starting to split down the middle, and it also has a little bit of obscured text that we're going to try to humidify and open up so that the entire text can be seen. The interesting things about these folders is not only is there a great mix of content, but there is a huge mix in size. You can see there's things that are small, and this one has a tear in it, which we'll have to fix, to things that are really large. The next step in the process is to repair the ones that have been flagged. This is Rachel Ingle doing the repair on this particular broadside. And what she will do is, if the item is one-sided, we will work from the back so that the repairs don't show up on the scan. And we're repairing these with Japanese tissue and wheat starch paste. So the process is to take a piece of Japanese tissue, which she is doing here, and wetting it up with a paste and water mixture. And that moist strip will be laid across the tear on the paper and gently positioned so that the two edges of the tear meet correctly and are well covered with the tissue. And then she'll put a piece of remay and blotter paper. The remay keeps the paste from sticking to the blotter, and the blotter will absorb the moisture out of the water and paste mixture. And put a little bit of weight on it to encourage it to dry flat. And as that's drying, she moves on to the next repair. And that's how we can work very quickly, is while something is drying, we fix something else. And so in order to dry it a little bit quicker, we can protect the original with a piece of silicone release paper, and then use a warm tacking iron to encourage the paste to dry a little bit quicker. And the final step would be to trim any of the tissue that overhangs the edge. And it's just done with a surgical scalpel that's very sharp, and the fibers of the tissue are just cut right along the edge of the original. We are considering this a Tier 1 project, and for us that means that stabilization and legibility are the primary concerns. What it also means is that we're ignoring some things. We're ignoring some previous repairs, such as this repair that was done a long time ago with a cellophane tape, but you can see how deteriorated and stained the paper is underneath. I'm going to leave that in place. We're also going to repair with tissue that is as close a match to the paper as we can. We are not going to further tone the tissue to match the substrate. We have a variety of tissues that are pretty close, and so the repairs, while not the most invisible, are at least sympathetic. This item is a Senate seating chart from 1848, and as you can see in here, it's been folded and a lot of information is hidden under the folds, so we're going to try to flatten it by doing some local humidification. So Mary Yorty is treating this, and she's misting up a blotter with a light layer of deionized water, and that blotter will be placed where we need to relax the paper. And once those fibers are humidified and relaxed, we can gently spread them apart and flatten them out so that they can be read by the camera. So this one is particularly brittle because it's been glued to a very acidic backing, and there's really nothing we can do because every time we try to repair it, it's just going to shatter in another place. So we will leave it as it is, and I have flagged it so that when DPC handles it, they know that it's particularly fragile. When we're ready to re-encapsulate them, we get a fresh piece of polyester, and we will insert the item. This is our ultrasonic polyester welder. It welds polyester sheeting so we don't have to use adhesives in order to seal the edge. The magnetic blanket pushes out the air from the packet and keeps it snug together so that the welder head can travel across the polyester and ultrasonically weld the plastic. See the weld line here, and it is a solid weld. So once that process is done for each and every item, we repeat it 5,000 times for the whole collection.